Good morning to you. It is a pleasure to be with you today. Imagine for a moment that it is a beautiful, sunny morning. You wake up feeling rested, the birds are chirping, and you are ready to tackle the garden or perhaps meet a friend for a walk. You sit down to a nice breakfast, enjoying the quiet of the kitchen. But then, something frustrating happens. By 10 or 11 o'clock, that energy evaporates. You feel a wave of heaviness, a fog settling in, or perhaps a sudden need to sit down and close your eyes. It can be confusing, especially when you think you started the day with a sensible meal. Research suggests that for many of us over 60, our metabolism processes glucose a bit differently than it did when we were 30. It turns out that about 20 to 30% of the fatigue we feel mid-morning isn't about how much sleep we got, but rather the specific fuel we put into our engines first thing in the day. The goal isn't to count every calorie, but to keep your energy steady so you can enjoy your day without that mid-morning crash. My name is Daniel Brooks. I am a registered dietitian nutritionist, and welcome to Senior Food 365. Today we are going to look at 7 common breakfast foods that might be quietly stealing your energy and offer some simple, delicious swaps to keep you going strong. The final item on our list is one that almost everyone assumes is the healthy choice, so be sure to stay with me for that. Before we dive in, I would love to hear from you. What is your typical go-to breakfast right now? Do you prefer something sweet like toast or something savory like eggs? Please let me know in the comments below. It really helps us understand what kinds of food swaps would be most helpful for you in future videos. 7. Flavored instant oatmeal packets. Let's begin with a breakfast staple that sits in pantries across the country. We often hear that oatmeal is heart healthy, and that can certainly be true. Oats are wonderful grains. However, the problem arises with those convenient little paper packets of flavored instant oatmeal. You might grab one that says maple and brown sugar or apple cinnamon, thinking you are making a wise choice for your cholesterol. The issue here is twofold: processing and sugar. Instant oats have been pressed very thin and pre-cooked, which means your body digests them incredibly fast. When you eat them, they turn into sugar in your bloodstream very quickly. On top of that, these packets are often loaded with added refined sugar. One small packet can contain 3 or 4 teaspoons of sugar. When you combine the quick-digesting oats with that added sugar, your blood sugar spikes rapidly. What goes up must come down. About an hour or two later, your blood sugar drops, and that is when the fatigue sets in. You might feel shaky, hungry again, or just incredibly tired. It is a classic energy roller coaster. A gentle swap here is to use old-fashioned rolled oats or steel-cut oats. They take a little longer for your body to break down, which provides a slow, steady release of energy rather than a spike. If you need sweetness, try adding fresh berries or a few slices of banana. You get the fiber and the flavor without the crash. 6. Store-bought fruit juice. Number 6 is often the companion to a complete breakfast. We grew up hearing that a glass of orange juice was essential for vitamin C. While fruit is undeniably good for us, fruit juice is a different story, especially as we age. When you drink a glass of orange, apple, or grape juice, you are consuming the sugar of 3 or 4 fruits, but with none of the fiber. The fiber in a whole fruit acts like a safety net. It slows down the absorption of sugar into your system. When you remove that fiber to make juice, you are essentially drinking liquid sugar. I want to share a quick story about a woman named Martha. Martha is 72, and she prided herself on having a light breakfast of toast and a large glass of orange juice every morning. She mentioned to her doctor that she always felt the need for a nap by 10:30 a.m. When she swapped that glass of juice for a whole orange and a glass of water, she noticed a difference within 3 days. She was getting the same vitamins, but her energy stayed steady until lunch. Liquid sugar hits the bloodstream almost instantly. For a senior body, managing that sudden influx requires a lot of insulin, and that process can leave you feeling drained and lethargic shortly after. Consider reaching for the whole fruit instead. Or if you love a morning beverage, try infusing water with some cucumber or lemon slices. You will stay hydrated, which is crucial for energy, without the sugar load that drags you down. 5. White toast and bagels. Moving on to number 5, let's talk about the bread basket. White toast, bagels, and English muffins are comfort foods for many of us. They are easy to chew, easy to prepare, and taste good with butter or jam. However, white flour is a refined carbohydrate. During the milling process, the bran and the germ, the parts of the grain that contain the nutrients and fiber, are stripped away. What is left is pure starch. When you eat a large white bagel, your body treats it very similarly to how it treats cake. It breaks down into glucose rapidly. This causes that familiar spike in blood sugar we keep discussing. But there is another factor here: density. Bagels, in particular, are very dense. One bagel can have the equivalent amount of carbohydrates as 4 or 5 slices of bread. That is a heavy load for your body to process first thing in the morning. When your body has to work hard to manage a massive influx of simple carbs, it diverts energy to digestion and insulin production. This can leave you feeling heavy or suffering from brain fog. You might find it hard to concentrate on your morning crossword puzzle or reading the paper. If you love your morning toast, you don't have to give it up completely. Look for 100% whole grain or sprouted grain bread. These options keep the fiber intact. The fiber slows down digestion, providing a steady stream of fuel rather than a flash flood. Also, consider pairing your toast with a protein or healthy fat, like a slice of avocado or a little almond butter. That combination helps anchor your energy levels. Quick pause here. If you like keeping track of things like symptoms, blood pressure, or daily habits, we've made a simple tool called the Senior Health Tracker. You can pause the video and scan the QR code on screen, or use the link in the description. It's just there to help you stay organized and share clearer notes with your doctor. 4. Fruit on the bottom. Yogurt. Number 4 is a food that has a very strong health halo. We often see yogurt advertised as the ultimate health food for digestion and bones. And it is true, yogurt can be fantastic. It has calcium and probiotics which are great for us. However, the specific type matters. Those little cups with fruit on the bottom, or the pre-flavored vanilla varieties, are often deceptive. The fruit mixture at the bottom is essentially jam or jelly, fruit cooked down with a significant amount of sugar or high fructose corn syrup. I have seen many clients who eat a vanilla yogurt thinking they are having a high-protein breakfast, only to find they are consuming 20 grams of added sugar. That is 5 teaspoons of sugar in a tiny 6-ounce cup. Just like with the juice and the instant oats, this creates an immediate energy surge followed by a crash. But there is another aspect. When you eat high-sugar foods, it can sometimes trigger cravings for more sweets later in the day. You might find yourself reaching for a cookie at lunch because your blood sugar is on a roller coaster ride. The fix here is quite simple and delicious. Buy plain, unsweetened Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt is strained, so it has much more protein than regular yogurt. Protein is excellent for satiety, keeping you full, and for maintaining steady energy. Then add your own sweetness. A handful of fresh blueberries or strawberries adds natural sweetness and fiber. You control the ingredients and your body will thank you for the steady fuel. 3. Processed breakfast meats. Number 3 involves the savory side of the plate: bacon, sausage, and ham. These meats are traditional favorites, and the smell of them cooking is certainly enticing. While these foods don't have the sugar problem we discussed earlier, They have a different mechanism for draining your energy. Processed meats are typically very high in sodium and saturated fats. They are also often cured with nitrates. Let's talk about digestion for a moment. Digestion is an energy-intensive process. When you eat a meal that is high in heavy fats and salt, your body has to work harder to break it down. Blood flow is diverted to your digestive system to handle the heavy load. This is often why we feel that food coma sensation after a heavy meal. For seniors, whose digestion might already be a little slower, a heavy serving of greasy sausage or bacon can feel like sitting with a brick in your stomach. It takes energy to process that meal, leaving less energy for your brain and muscles. Also, the high sodium content can cause water retention and make you feel bloated or sluggish. It can affect your blood pressure, which plays a role in how energetic you feel. Let me tell you about Robert. Robert is a 68-year-old gentleman who loved his 2 sausage patties every morning. He told me he felt slow until noon. We experimented with swapping the sausage for a hard-boiled egg or a slice of turkey breast a few days a week. Robert found that on the days he skipped the heavy processed meat, he felt lighter and moved more easily during his morning walk. You don't have to banish bacon forever, but perhaps think of it as a treat for special occasions rather than a daily fuel source. Leaner proteins like eggs, turkey, or even beans can provide that savory satisfaction without the heavy energy tax. If videos like this help you, you can hit subscribe so you don't miss future senior health tips here on this channel. 2. Pancakes and waffles with syrup. We are down to number 2, and this is the classic weekend breakfast that many of us enjoy. Huge stacks of pancakes or crispy waffles drowned in syrup. This meal is essentially a double whammy for your energy levels. First, the batter is usually made from refined white flour, the same issue we saw with the white toast. It converts to sugar rapidly. Second, most pancake syrup we buy at the grocery store is not actual maple syrup. If you look at the label, the first ingredient is often high fructose corn syrup, followed by caramel color and artificial flavoring. So you have a base of refined carbohydrates topped with liquid sugar. This creates a massive glycemic load. Your pancreas has to pump out a large amount of insulin to clear that sugar from your blood. Once the insulin does its job, your blood sugar levels plummet, often dropping below where they started. This is called reactive hypoglycemia. This drop sends a signal to your brain that you are tired and hungry. You might feel sleepy, irritable, or just weak. It is very hard to maintain an active morning after a meal like this. If you enjoy pancakes, consider making them with almond flour or oat flour. These flours have more protein and fiber, which helps blunt the sugar spike. And when it comes to toppings, try using fresh fruit compote or a very small amount of real pure maple syrup. A little goes a long way. 1. Adult cold cereals. We have arrived at number 1. This is the item I mentioned earlier that often tricks us because it looks so responsible. We are talking about boxed cold cereals, specifically the ones marketed to adults. We know the colorful loops and frosted flakes are sugary, but many cereals that look brown, earthy, and healthy are surprisingly high in sugar and refined carbs. You might see boxes claiming heart healthy, whole grain, or high fiber. However, if you turn the box over and look at the nutrition label, you might be shocked. Many of these bran flakes, granola clusters, or nut crunch cereals have 10, 12, or even 15 grams of added sugar per serving. And let's be honest, most of us pour a bowl that is larger than the recommended 1-cup serving size. Let's consider a story about Linda. Linda is 65 and was trying to be very careful with her diet. She ate a bowl of bran clusters with raisins every morning. She was frustrated because she couldn't shake her mid-morning fatigue. We looked at her cereal box together. It turned out her healthy cereal had more sugar in it than a glazed donut. The raisins were coated in sugar, and the clusters were held together with honey and syrup. Cereal is also a processed food. The grains have been pulverized and reshaped. Even if they are whole grains, the processing makes them digest faster than an intact grain like brown rice or steel-cut oats. When you eat a large bowl of cereal with milk, which also contains natural sugar, lactose, you are getting a very high carbohydrate load. Without enough protein or healthy fat to slow it down, you get that familiar spike and crash. And if tracking these things helps you stay consistent, the Senior Health Tracker app is linked below if you'd like to explore it. A better alternative to cold cereal is to look for options with less than 5 grams of sugar per serving and at least 3 grams of fiber. Or, step away from the cereal aisle entirely. A breakfast of scrambled eggs with spinach or a bowl of cottage cheese with melon provides high-quality protein that fuels your muscles and keeps your brain alert without the sugar crash. To wrap things up, the common thread among these 7 foods is how quickly they turn into sugar in your body, or how hard they are to digest. The key to sustainable energy after 60 is balancing your plate. Try to include some protein, some fiber, and perhaps a little healthy fat in your morning meal. This combination acts like a slow-burning log on the fire, keeping you warm and energized for hours, rather than the quick flash of paper that burns out in minutes. Even small daily steps can help you feel steadier, safer, and more confident as you go through your day. I am curious to know, which of these breakfast swaps seems the most doable for you this week? Would you be willing to try the whole fruit instead of the juice or perhaps the steel-cut oats? Let me know in the comments. This video is for education only and is not personal medical advice. Always talk to your own doctor about your situation. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.